And I enjoyed the process of photographing my products. I really was the person behind who was styling the models. I was also the one taking the photos of them. And
Uh-huh.
I loved the end result of it. So that was that so-called drive.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. This is Sean. This is the Leadership Stack podcast. And for today, we have a special guest for you, all the way from Singapore, Miss Huda. Thank you for your time, giving us some of your precious time. We have 1 hour to record today. Thank you for being here on the show.
You're welcome. It's such an honor to be on Leadership Stack.
This is the first time, actually, that I am interviewing a lady from abroad. Most of my guests are men. I don't know why. So my last 3 or 4 interviews, all in Zoom because we're in lockdown, we're all guys. And we got connected in the same matchmaking platform where you and I got connected. So that's a little bit strange. But I am happy that we have some feminine touch right here today.
Yeah.
Do you do this often?
Yes, I actually do lots of interviews. I share as much information and knowledge that I can with so many people, different types of podcasts. So I'm just waiting for all the episodes to air.
Oh, that's fantastic. This one will air sometime, maybe May or June. We're not yet sure because I have a lot of interviews that's still being edited and post-produced right now. So one of the things that I am wondering about you is you're in Singapore. It's such a bustling city, one of the most high-tech cities, especially in Southeast Asia. It is a first world country, but a very small and densely populated first world country. I've been there a couple of times. I love Singapore. My wife loves Singapore, especially if it's Black Friday sale.
Of course.
So one of the things that I've always wondered about is in that kind of a setting, what are the chances of an entrepreneur, a startup entrepreneur, making it?
In Singapore, I think the chances of any business making it is there. We've got lots of government support for businesses to start, also lots of support for first-time entrepreneurs, in fact. Definitely, our grants and our loans are one of the lowest in Southeast Asia. The interest rates and all that are one of the lowest. And of course, our corporate tax rate is one of the lowest in Southeast Asia as well. So
Mm-mm.
it's really an attractive environment to start businesses here in Singapore. So I would say that if you are a first time entrepreneur, you definitely can make it. So it's just a matter of how much effort you want to put into your business, how much grit you are willing to, grind yourself every single
Mhm.
day of your life to
Mhm.
get to where you want to be.
Mhm. Are there a lot of entrepreneurs there, or are there more professionals there?
I would say that definitely our economy is driven by businesses,
Mhm.
but there is also a high number of professionals. So businesses leads the economy simply because we are a very small economy, just like what you said. We are a very small
Mhm.
country, so we have to be dependent on human capital. So the more businesses that we have, the more job opportunities there are for our people. And that's the reason why we've got lots of businesses, and the government is always supporting businesses for that very reason. So we have lots of schemes here in Singapore, especially if you were to hire talents, local talents from maybe fresh graduates from university or from polytechnics. There's definitely lots of supports that the government give,
Mhm.
and they also have quite a favorable incentive for hiring expatriates who have a very unique skill sets as well. So all these things are really interesting, and I would say that Singapore is a very stable landscape for any business development. That if you want to start a business, Singapore
Yeah.
is actually a good place to start a business in. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Good to know. And I could see that you started young. You're probably 25 years old right now. I'm
Oh,
guessing
that's so kind of you.
26.
I'm not.
Actually, I could see that you had your first job 2017. Is that right?
Um,
2017 to 2018. That's one.
I would say my first full-time job was
Uh-huh.
2017. I mean, all the other jobs that I had before was just, like for fun or, just because.
Got it. Got it. All right. So I'm mistaken, but it was a good mistake.
So
And then
I'm actually approaching my 30s already. So that's,
approaching your 30s. Got it. You're still young as an entrepreneur. And you started your first business, Blissful Studios, 6 years ago. So tell me
yes.
about that journey. Why did you start up a business that is, doing photography and videography? How did you discover that? Is that a passion? Is that, how did that come about?
All right. So okay. So I started a few businesses. So the first business that I started was actually an e-commerce business. So it was handmade stationery. Yes.
Mhm.
So I like to do things with my hands. I'm a very like tactile person. I really like to go out and do things and like really just use my hands, get dirty
Mhm.
basically. So that business was an e-commerce business, and I started taking photos using my phone. I enjoy the flat lay process. I enjoy taking product photos. And then when that business had to be shut down because our suppliers, that business had to be shut down because my hard drive burned. So I lost
Okay.
all my designs
Oh,
and I wasn't able to, I
backup.
wasn't able to do it again. That creative juices doesn't happen overnight. You can
Yeah.
self-publish something like that. This was way before Dropbox came about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then after that I went on to do another business which was selling shawls, so for Muslim ladies. So the main focus was just that, and I enjoyed the process of photographing my products. I really was the person behind who was styling the models. I was also the one taking the photos of them,
Uh-huh.
and I loved the end result of it. So that was that so-called drive from there. But when we talk about passion, my first camera, my mom purchased it for me when I was 16 years old.
Mhm.
Because I told her that I just wanted to do something over my school holiday break while waiting for entry into junior college. So I just wanted to make use of my time. And I told her that a camera would be quite useful. So she bought me a camera. I explored photography, went to the whole of Singapore, started shooting common things like trees, flowers, and things like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it was digital already, right? Because you can't do that in film. If you had film, it would be very expensive to just experiment.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so my father had a film camera. He gave it to me when I was 10 years old to play around. Bought me a one roll of film and I pretty much screw it up.
Yeah.
Everything was
Yeah.
exposed.
Likewise. We're not for that kind of cameras.
So maybe not yet at the time because I didn't learn about it.
Uh-huh.
So when I was in junior college, I actually partake in a digital media extracurricular activity. So
Mhm.
my area or my department, they gave us fancy terms. So my department was photography. And I
Mhm.
learned a lot of things through there. And it got me thinking that I could express my creativity through photos.
Mhm.
So I explored a little bit of photos over there. And then I went to do a little bit of video editing for
Mhm.
school projects and things like that. And I enjoyed the process as well. So that was how I realized that I have this talent, I have this skill, and I am able to be creative. I'm
Mhm.
able to do it using my hands. I'm able to take photos using my camera. Maybe I don't know all the skills at that time.
Yeah.
So I was always improving. I was always trying to find ways and trying to make a decision like which type of photography that I would be interested in. So when I was in university, I started doing like volunteer photography. So I did cover some events. And I thought that events was quite fun. It was quite easy to cover until you actually look at the number of photos that you have taken.
Yeah.
So culling through all the photos, shortlisting the photos was like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what actually inspired me to start Blissful Studios was it was a moment of desperation. Well, when I was in my second year of university, in the year 2010, my father passed away. So my father was the sole breadwinner for the family, and like I shared with you in before this recording, I was raised in a family of entrepreneurs, and my
Mhm.
father was like my idol. I looked up to him. I went to university because of him. Like
Wow.
I had zero intention of doing a course that I didn't like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and he
And
just
what was it? What was the course?
I was doing economics. I really hated it.
Really? That's a pretty good course, though. It is.
Yeah, I just can't pass any of the statistics modules.
Yeah.
Tough for some people, I guess. Statistics, maths, it's just not my thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of that in economics. A lot of statistics.
Yeah. So I actually went to the university of his choice because of the university's prestige. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And the course that I wanted to take was not available in that university. So I did it just because I wanted to please my father. And when he passed on, I had zero motivation to continue studying. I was put in a very tough situation in my family where there was practically lights in our home. There was no electricity in our home because there's no breadwinner anymore. Then
Wow.
all our bills, were just due, and our home's mortgage was due as well. So there was a lot of things that was going on. My late father also left us with some company debts that we were not aware of.
Uh-huh.
So as a family, we had to take on those debts. Yeah. So
No
yeah,
insurance.
um,
No life insurance.
life insurance was there, but it's not enough to cover. In the construction industry, you need
All right.
millions
Yeah.
millions to just run the business.
Right.
And life insurance was just to support us as a family.
Yes.
So it was just survival money. And once
Right.
the money is over, once it's completed, once it's finished, then what's next? So I have three elder brothers, and all my brothers were trying to survive. They were also trying to make ends meet. They have their own families as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I was the youngest. I wasn't married at that time. So I had to think like, how can I improve my life, or how can I get out of that situation? I was actually living from hostels to hostels because I didn't have a place to stay thereafter. My mom had to make a decision to sell the house so that we can cover the debts. And yeah, I was just living in odd places with my mom. I would say that I was practically homeless during that period of time. So just
Wow.
like begging sympathy from people to open up their homes to let us stay for like 3 nights, and then we move on to another home and things like that. So actually, right about this time in 2010 was when I was homeless. So Ramadan is the time where I was homeless. Can you imagine? Like
Wow.
Ramadan is the time where people actually spend time with their family. They actually got, they can get good meals, warm shower even. But that was all a luxury for me. I wasn't able to do all that. So I was very grateful for this whole experience, definitely. So during that period of time, since my mom let go of the house, all our belongings also had to be let go as well. So I kept my laptop, and I also kept my camera that my mom bought me.
Mm-hmm.
So these were the two assets that I have. And I couldn't continue seeing my mom not knowing what to do, because she's been, she's been the housewife for so many years. And all of a sudden you lose your husband, you lose the breadwinner, you don't know what to do. That was definitely the struggle. And that
Yeah.
is actually one of the reasons why I was so passionate about helping women get acquitted with business knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
That is very,
Mm. Now it makes sense.
yeah, now it makes sense, right?
So tell me how do you feel? How did you feel during all of these things? Because now when you're telling the story, you seem very okay with it. You seem like you got it all figured out. But we have people out there maybe experiencing the same things, and they're thinking thoughts that are really not helpful. Maybe you could have some advice, right, for them right now. What were you thinking? What were you going through during that time?
Of course, during a difficult time, you are bound to want to blame yourself. You are bound to think that all this happened because of you. Or if the worst case of all is, you're going to question the existence of God, and you're going to ask, why me? So this whole situation, at that time when I was going through it, definitely I was feeling very lost. I was feeling very, very sad. I was just like sad, and like the people that I thought were family, like they were not really there to support us. They were scolding us for making bad decisions, like things that you don't need actually. In this kind of situation, the people around you matters the most. And you in order for you to support someone who's going through a difficult time, you do not question their choices, you do not scold them, and you do not let them blame themselves, because that's the worst thing that you can do, because you're going to lead them onto a path of no return. Because that was what happened to me. I had lots of feeling of suicide. I have lots of feeling of depression.
Mm.
I really didn't want to go through life,
Yeah.
because like I was 21. I was celebrating my 21st birthday when my father passed away. So
Oh
can you
wow.
imagine, like, I was celebrating my 21st birthday. 3 days after that, my father passed away. So this was definitely a very painful moment for any 21-year-old. You have just, like, so-called, like, received the key of life.
Yeah.
But little
Yeah.
did you know that the biggest challenge is that's going to happen to you is going to happen at that moment, from that moment onwards. So I would say that for anyone who's going through similar challenges, especially now in this current environment where lots of uncertainty, with the COVID-19 situation going around, you do not know how long the lockdown is going to be. You do not know how long quarantine is going to happen. You do not
Yeah.
even know whether some of the businesses that you used to frequent are going to still be around right now, after this whole situation. And you just have to remember that if you are going through this situation, have faith that this will be a story to tell. And this will
Mm.
be something that you can motivate and inspire someone else later on in the future. Right
Mm.
there at that moment, of course, you are feeling whatever you're feeling, and that's normal. But you have to give yourself a deadline. You have to tell yourself that, okay, I cannot be mulling for the rest of my life. I cannot be sad for the rest of my life. I've got to give myself a deadline. Like, embrace that mourning process. If you need to mourn, just mourn. For your loss of income, maybe for the loss of a business that you've built for years, or even maybe for a loss of a family member because of the COVID situation. So, take the time you need to mourn. If you want to mourn, mourn. But you have to give yourself a deadline. You have to tell yourself when is the last day that you are going to stop mourning. Because after that, you've got to pick yourself up again. You've got to pick yourself up, because there are people around you that needs you. And the people around you, even if you're living alone, you can actually do so much things. You can also do so much benefit to the world. You can inspire one person in life. That means that you are already a valuable person to the community. So never once doubt that you are an invaluable member to the community. No, you are always valuable. It's just a matter of whether you believe that you are valuable or not. So to anyone who's going through this challenge, my best tip for you is that you give yourself a deadline to mourn, be sad. Even if you want to doubt yourself, just give yourself a deadline. Once that deadline has reached, once it has passed, you've got to pick yourself up. You've got to be a different person. You've got to be better. You've got to find ways to get out of your situation. Being stuck in your situation is not an excuse for you to not be better. So you just have to be better. That's just my take on this.